guys, Aussie FIFA HD, and welcome back to yet another FIFA 21 tutorial on the channel. You guys have been pestering me for some defending tutorials, and I'm sorry lads, they've been coming, I just haven't got around to them. Today though, we are learning when to slide tackle in FIFA 21. There's a certain time that you should slide tackle, and you know, it's not something that you should spam. There's a certain time, there's certain scenarios where you should only use it, and this video, this tutorial, is going to deconstruct and show you guys when. So without further ado, let's get into the intro, and then let's get into when, how, and basically where to slide tackle in FIFA 21.
Griezmann, three men around him to somehow find some space. Ronaldo, fantastic, opening the drive back.
He's made himself the tiniest bit of space.
Almost feels like a bit of a toy. Didn't really go for him. Oh! The display there is absolutely ridiculous. The Elastico on the goal line. On the goal line, the finest.
We talked about Aussie FIFA. He's not here to make up the numbers.
Moving into the first segment, and there is going to be some segments in this episode. There's going to be two. There's going to be, obviously, when to slide tackle. And then the second segment is going to be how to slide tackle in terms of blocking a shot. Okay, so that will be the second segment of this episode. Essentially though, in terms of slide tackling in FIFA 21, what you're going to be watching out for and what you're going to need to sort of, you know, keep an eye on as you're defending, as you're sort of figuring out your opponent, is when they are more inclined to sprint. Okay, there's certain times, and everyone has a certain game style, but a lot of players will hold the sprint button, and this is important because it will determine when you are going to slide tackle. Okay, in terms of when, basically it's on around the second or third touch that they take when they are sprinting. Okay, the first one is hard to read. You don't know when they're going to sprint. Okay, it's hard to read, but what you can catch on with is the second touch that they take after they've started sprinting. So it's one and then it's two, and the second sprint is when you want to pounce. Okay, and when you want to pounce on your opponent and then slide tackle. Okay, because they've taken a second touch, and when they're holding the sprint button, the ball is pushed out at least a meter away from them. Okay, and this is when you want to slide tackle, okay, because the gap's out in front of them, they're not in complete control of the ball, and this is when you want to pounce. The way you pounce though, there's a specific technique. You basically want to hold down L2 when you're reading the opponent and you're watching them and you're waiting for that second touch to be taken. But as soon as you want to pounce, let go of the L2 button and then hold down R2, the sprint button, to then pounce on the opponent. So you're holding L2 to steady your defender, you're then letting go of L2, and then you are holding down sprint R2 to then pounce on the opponent once they've taken that second or third touch when they are sprinting. And as you're seeing here, I'm able to get the ball cleanly, okay? Obviously, you know, sometimes you might mistime it and you might take out the opponent. Look, that's not the worst thing. If they're countering you, it's a tactical foul, in my opinion, and it's something that's in real-world football, and you should definitely use it in FIFA 21. Again, I'll go through it quite quickly for you guys once again. Basically, you want to read to your opponent and get to feel your opponent in the first 5 or so in-game minutes and know when they are more inclined to sprint. Are they a player that sprints a lot? Are they not? For the players that sprint quite a lot and hold down R2 when they're playing, you want to read that. You want to wait for the second touch that they take for the ball to then be pushed out in front of them, or second or third touch, whatever you want to do. Wait for the ball to be pushed out in front of them for the second or third time, and then pounce. And the way you pounce, I will go through it again. You're holding down L2 to steady your defender, to read him, and then once you're going to pounce, you let go of L2, push forward with the R2 button and the sprint button, and then press the slide tackle button. More often than not, you will get the ball cleanly. You will then, obviously, you know, gather the ball with your attacker, and you can counter them after you've done this. So, lads, that is the first segment. I'm going to jump into the second segment, though, of when and how to block a shot with the slide tackle button. Moving into when and how you should be slide tackling to try and block a shot in FIFA 21. I just want to do a bit of a disclaimer here though. You're not always going to block it. when you're doing a slide tackle, especially if the player does a very high shot into the top corner. Obviously the player on the ground is not going to block that. But more often than not, if they're shooting and the ball is only at the height of the goalkeeper or the waist of the goalkeeper or on the ground, the slide tackle will most of the time or some of the time work, okay? And the way you read this is obviously you want to be watching the bar of power below. Obviously, you know how it has the name down the bottom left and right. You want to be watching your opponent's power bar, okay? And essentially, as soon as you see that power bar, obviously the next touch they're going to be taking is a shot, okay? So that's when you want to be slide tackling and trying to get the body in front of the ball, okay, to then try and block it. All right. So, lads, for me, that is when and how you should be doing this, okay? It's basically you're looking at the bar of power below the player name in the bottom left or bottom right or wherever your opponent's is. You're then wanting to press slide tackle to try and make that block. But you need to time it, obviously, and the best way of timing it is looking at the power bar below on the screen. But, lads, that will signal the end of the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Smash a like. Can we drop 100 likes on this episode? That would be much appreciated. Subscribe if you haven't already and follow me on Twitter. Link is in the description down below. I'd keep in touch with you guys over there. But as always, I hope you have a good day. I'm out. Sayonara, au revoir, and goodbye.